Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm going to be reviewing Sonic 4 Episode 2 for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC, also on mobile devices. Before I start this video, I just want to say I did not mean to make 3 Sonic videos in a row. I was originally going to make a video called The PopCap Graveyard, going over the dead PopCap franchises and more. But I kind of gave up on it. I just lost interest and I lost a lot of motivation. There was just too much going on in my personal life, so I couldn't catch up on that. Hope you understand. But yeah, now that we're here, let's just get right into it. Upon starting the game, you'll notice that the intro is exactly like it is in Sonic 2, just like how Episode 1 was a callback to Sonic 1. And I mean, the UI is a lot better than it was in Episode 1. You have these panels, and they have these, like, different well, not symbols, but they have, like, for example, multiplayer. It has Sonic and Tails running. I thought that was pretty cool, honestly. It's a nice change of pace. It feels more like a game than a... I don't even know. I just feel the Episode 1 menu wasn't even bad, it was just kind of generic. Now, in this game, you have, just like the last one, 5 worlds, except, you only start off, obviously, with 1, then once you beat Sylvania Castle, which is the first world, you unlock White Park and Oil Ocean Zone, and then you unlock, Sky Fortress Zone, and then you unlock Death MK2, and that's the final zone of the game, except that one actually has an act before you do the final boss, unlike the Death Egg in Episode 1 where it was just one boss. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now let's get more into it. Now the worlds themselves are actually pretty cool, because it's not like Episode 1 where they just inspired them from an old zone or whatever. They're actually more original because they combine like 2 old zones in one. For example, Sylvania Castle is like Aquatic Ruin and Marble Garden combined. I thought that was really cool. It has some elements and some unique elements too. I thought that was awesome. Oil Desert isn't just like Oil Ocean. I mean, it actually has some changes. It feels like an original zone. I mean, I would say it's probably one of the least original out of the bunch, but it still feels very fresh with a lot of new features and elements and stuff. I thought it was awesome. White Park is probably the most original. It's like this, at first it kind of reminds you of Ice Cap Zone, but it does play a bit differently, obviously. Then as you go on, you'll go on a roller coaster, and then you'll go under the ice and stuff, like in the freezing water, where you'll have like these walruses that would literally freeze themselves just to express how cold the water is. I thought that was fucking awesome. I mean, and then you got Sky Fortress after, which honestly, it's kind of just Wing Fortress. You start off in the plane mode where you just move on Tails' plane as he guides you through. You do have some abilities, like if you press X, you could just plow through blocks and stuff. So I mean, it is a bit different. And Act 2 and 3 is more like the after you get off the plane in Sonic 2. I thought that was pretty cool, and it does have some new elements, so that's awesome. And Death MK, we'll get into. Now on to probably the most important thing to talk about, Tails. He's like the new feature of this game. So you can actually perform 2 moves with him. He does serve a purpose. If you jump in the air and you press X, you can fly, and it works more like a burst than it does like an actual propel. So I mean, that's pretty cool. It can help you in some tight situations. It's still useful. Not as good, still pretty good. And you got the, as people call it, the fucking 69 move, where you and Tails just plow through a bunch of things, like enemies and stuff. Any enemy that takes more than 1 hit, you can just plow through it, and it gives you a ton of speed at first, but then you start to lose that momentum. So, I mean, it's not like you could just beat the game just using it. I honestly wouldn't recommend that. But, yeah, overall, I mean, Tails is pretty good. It's just that whenever you use him, you have to, like, freeze for 2 seconds to get out of formation. Like, if you're gonna fly, there's, like, this freezing animation. You have to sit through, like, a very short, but still freezing animation, and I thought that was pretty stupid. I mean, it doesn't actually affect the timer, so if you're gonna do a speed run, it doesn't affect anything, but it's still really annoying. Overall, though, Tails is really cool as an addition to the game. You can also swim with him, and that works perfectly. You don't even have to worry about, like, a gauge. You don't run out of, anything, honest. It's endless. You could burst however you want until you're out of the water. So you could practically swim whenever you want, and that's awesome. And there's more underwater segments in this game than there was in the last. So overall, Tails is a really good feature, I think. Now, the levels themselves are actually pretty great, and I mean, there is some cheap level design. At least there's more so than Episode 1. It's a bit more dickish, but sometimes it's actually challenging. And I mean, with Tails, it makes more sense. There's more bottomless pits, more spikes and stuff. I mean, there's some areas where you literally have to glide through, like, an entire bottomless area with Tails. It's like oil desert. There's like this windstorm you have to glide with. I thought that level was pretty cool. And I mean, overall, I'd say Oil Desert and Sky Fortress are like the only two worlds with cheap level design, and even then, it's not even that bad. So most of it is challenge, so it's not even cheap. But when it is cheap, I mean, you get over it pretty fast. The levels don't drag on forever. Now, there is this one cool level. It's like this roller coaster in White Park where it plays this jingle that's just like Sonic Adventure's level, Twinkle Park. It's pretty much the same thing, just a remix. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Take a listen. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool in my opinion. But, overall, the levels in this game are really good. Sylvania Castle is a blast to play through. White Park is great. Oil Desert, for the most part, is okay. It's probably like the worst one out of the bunch. And, Sky Fortress is probably the hardest, but it's still very fun. I think it serves a good challenge. But yeah, I think it's really fun, honestly. Most of the levels, at least. There's no levels that I absolutely dread. Now, the music in this game is actually pretty good. It's not as good as Episode 1's in my opinion, but I mean, on its own, it's still really good. Like, you know, like, Sylvania Castle isn't too bad. Oil Desert has I think one really bad track. And I think Sky Fortress and White Park, for the most part, are pretty good. So, I mean, overall, and the menu themes and stuff are the exact same world map, but overall, I'd say the music's pretty good. Now on to the bosses, which are actually original this time around, which I thought were awesome, and they're fun. I mean, some of them. But, you know, for example, you got fucking Metal Sonic in White Park, you got this Venus plant in fucking Sylvania Castle, which I find funny is that, in that Venus plant boss fight, Eggman kind of shows up these, like, aquatic ruins fucking statues that you would find in Sonic 2. So you'd think it's, like, another unoriginal boss fight. Then the Venus fucking thing shows up and smashes them. I thought that was kind of funny. But, you know, overall, I think the bosses are pretty cool. There's this one in Oil Desert that's honestly pretty shit. It's just way too time-consuming. It's not the worst thing ever. I've played worse. But, yeah, bosses are pretty good, I gotta say. And I mean, just like Sonic fashion, this game has special stages, and you'd be surprised, because although this game takes inspiration from Sonic 2, they didn't change how you get the special stage any bit. I mean, you still get 50 rings, you pass a goal, and there's a big ring. Now, the special stages themselves are very akin to Sonic 2, but they're much changed. I mean, Sonic now has a boost button, so you can have for, you know, faster speed, so you miss a lot of things, but tighter accuracy towards rings. But I mean, overall, the special stages aren't even hard at all, because you can kind of just retry them as many times as you want. Whenever you see a checkpoint and you don't have enough rings, just retry the level. You could do this in the last game, but the difference with the last game is that you didn't know when you were going to die right away. You would only reset when you were almost out of time. So, I mean, yeah, now it's much more, I guess you could say the reset button is much more useful. And, I mean, overall, just like I did last time. I was able to get all the Chaos Emeralds, so I didn't even want to at first. At first I wasn't gonna, but at the end of the day I wanted to try Supersonic, and I gotta say, Supersonic looks great in this game. How even better than Episode 1, but whenever you use Tails, like an ability, you lose Supersonic. I thought that was really dumb, and it kind of makes Supersonic a bit less useful, but I mean overall he's still fun to play as. I'd say is a bit worth getting. I mean the special stages aren't even that hard. So yeah, I'd say why not. Now on to the final world in the game, I should say. This has one act and then a final boss fight. Now the first act is just a bit of gravity platforming, nothing bad, no bottomless pits, it's super easy, just takes a bit. Then you actually fight Eggman and Metal Sonic at the same time. You have to get past Eggman and hit Metal Sonic. Once you do that enough times, you can just go on to more gravity platforming, and after that you actually do like this race with Metal Sonic, just like in Sonic CD. It even has a remix and everything. I thought that was cool, although all you have to do is do a 69 and you can just pass through the whole thing. That's probably the one boss or stage that you can just pass to. And I mean, after that, you're done. Also, I forgot to mention, you can be Supersonic during all the boss fights. I wouldn't recommend it for some of them, like the Venus plant. I probably wouldn't, because you just run out of rings. It takes too long. But I mean, it's still useful. Like for the boss fight I just mentioned, Act 1, it works a lot. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that after you beat Sky Fortress, the story actually like progresses. Something it didn't do in Episode 1. Once you beat Sky Fortress, the fortress, I guess you can say, starts crumbling, and Sonic and Tails go into this pod where they go to the Death Egg, MK2, I think it is, and that's where you know, find the final boss and stuff, which we're gonna get into now. Now, the final boss of this game is actually really hard. It's like Eggman goes in this heart or whatever, and you just have to hop through a bunch of these rings. It's kind of hard to explain. You'll see gameplay of it. And then as you go on, those rings start to electrocute, and as you go on farther, they start to literally fall off and shit. And I mean, it's hard to see where you're going when you're far away from an upper ring, but you pretty much just have to hit Eggman. Pretty hard boss fight, I gotta say. It took me a few tries, but I mean, once you beat that, then the game's over. I won't spoil the ending, although it's not much, but yeah, even if you get Supersonic, by the way, and beat the boss, it doesn't change anything, so I mean, that's another reason Supersonic's not as worth it. At least in Episode 1, it actually, I forgot to mention this, it shows you like a teaser of Metal Sonic. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, once you're done the game, there actually is a bit more stuff to discover. I mean, for one, there's these red rings you can collect in every stage. I collected them all for the sake of this video, and spoiler alert, they give you absolutely fucking nothing. But hey, at the end of the day, it's something to do. And I mean, this game also does have multiplayer, which I'll get into. Yeah, I mean, the multiplayer is pretty self-explanatory. I wasn't able to get any footage of it, but pretty much all you do is, it's multiplayer. You can play as Tails solo, which is pretty cool, or Sonic. It's kind of like in Sonic 2, except Tails has more control from what I've seen. There's online multiplayer, which no one's ever on. And I mean, there's even, other than that, there's even this, episode medal. If you get both Episode 1 and Episode 2, it pretty much shows you how Metal Sonic got to where he is. And, you just play through, like, one act each of like a hardened mode of one of the zones from Episode 1, like, you know, the Mad Gear Zone, Lost Labyrinth, Casino Night, or whatever it's called, Casino Park, and Splash Hill. It's pretty much just one act each of those, so 4 acts in total, but like hard mode. The enemies are placed differently. I mean, fucking, well, I think, I don't know, Splash Hill Zone has like a bottomless pit with a fish and shit. It's weird. But, yeah, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's worth 20 bucks, but I mean, it's cool if you do have 2 episodes. This is going to end my review for Sonic 4 Episode 2, but overall I have to say it's a pretty good game. Definitely better than its predecessor, Episode 1. It improves in a lot of ways, feels like a more clean experience, but the level design and stuff like that just don't match the potential or power of, you know, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Knuckles, or Sonic CD, kind of. But, yeah, overall I think on its own it's a really good game. There could be some improvements here and there, but, like, I guess, it could have been longer. I feel there could have been more to it, It just feels like it has potential for that. There could have been more than just 4 zones plus one final one. Yeah, overall, I think Sonic 4 Episode 2 is a really good game, and I'd give it a 8 out of 10 if I had to give it a score. Now, there was going to be an Episode 3, but it got scrapped in 2015, and it probably would have had Knuckles in it, so that would have been interesting. I would have liked to see that, to be honest. Would have been a cool trilogy. But, yeah, if you want to get this game, you can get it on Xbox, PlayStation, and mobile devices. Specifically 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 3. It wasn't on any Nintendo consoles. I guess it was too powerful for the Wii, I heard. But yeah, other than that, that's about it. Sonic 4 Episode 2 is a pretty good game, and I kind of wish there was an Episode 3 to review, but that's going to end it for the Sonic 4 reviews. See you next time. And hey, my Steam playtime isn't that bad. Come on, guys.
It's the last rites for those pests. It's Cat's Eye, all the best of the